Abdul Muhammad told my father what Mr. W.D. Farad was teaching, and my father told me. When I heard it, I told my father, "I like to hear that man."
My father was the first member and was the first one to hear about Islam. He met Abdul Muhammad, the representative of Master Farad Muhammad, in the alley. And when he met him, and Abdul answered all of his questions right there in the alley, working. My father was working. He had stopped preaching and he was working for the city, cleaning up the rubbish in the alleys. And that's where Abdul stopped and talked to him, Abdul Muhammad. And he did. My father asked him where was the place at. So he would like to hear that man. And he told him. So my brother Johnny, he set out to find out the address where it was at while my father was working. And when he found it, they went to this place in a house, and there he come back and told my father that he found the address. And then my brother Elijah Muhammad and my brother Wali Muhammad and Johnny, my father, they went to hear Master Farad. And that's the way he would come into the Temple of Islam by my father, because they would sit on every Saturday and they would talk about what they had learned by meeting Master Farad and Abdul Muhammad.
One day our father told us that he received some information and teachings from his friend Brother Abdul Muhammad, who told him that Mr. W.D. Farad has taught him and gave him that name after he was known by his slave name Brown. Brown himself was connected with the Moorish-American movement started by Noble Drew Ali. Abdul Muhammad joined the movement under the name Brown L. Abdul Muhammad told my father what Mr. W.D. Farad was teaching, and my father told me. When I heard it, I told my father, "I like to hear that man." I said, "That is good what Abdul Muhammad told you." That was in the spring of 1931. I asked my father about Abdul Muhammad, and he told me where that man lives, and therefore we went, my brother and I, to find Abdul Muhammad. We had visited Abdul Muhammad in his house, me and my older brother, for several weeks, and he was telling us what he had been taught. Then we visited the place where Mr. W.D. Farad was teaching. It was a basement. I was not able to get into the basement because it was so crowded that I had no way to get in. But I heard him. He was speaking on Hastings Street, around 3408 Hastings, and I was not able to hear him well here too, because it was so crowded, thousands of people listening to him. After the meeting was over, I was sitting down and thought about the teachings. They did me so much good just to think about them. I waited after the second meeting, so I might have a turn to meet him. So we lined up to go by and shake hands with him, because he was shaking hands with us all. And when I got to him, I shaked my hands with him and told him that I recognized who he is, and he held his head down close to my face, and he said to me, "Yes, brother." I said to him, "You are that one we read in the Bible, that he would come in the last day under the name Jesus." I said, "You're that one?" Here he looked at me very serious when I said that to him. And finally he said, "Yes, I am the one that you have been looking for in the last 2,000 years. I am the one. But you go ahead now, brother. That is good." And he did not seem to care whether others were sharing what I was saying or what he was saying. So finally I went back again and listened, and he told the whole congregation that he was the Jesus that we have been looking for and expecting, not the one who was here 2,000 years ago, but the one we had been expecting. He said, "This is the time of that one." At that time, I was satisfied. Then I go out in Hamtramck and tell my poor brothers and sisters there what I have learned from his teachings. So they would sit and continue from hour to hour, listening to what I was saying. I went on for a few months. In the fall of 1931, my wife one day went to hear him, and I stayed home with the children. That night he asked about me, saying, "Anyone here in this hall know that little man who lives in Hamtramck?" My wife answered, "Yes, he is my husband." Then he wants me to teach. He told her to tell me to go ahead and teach Islam, and he will back me up. These were the words he told her to tell me. I felt so happy when my wife told me that. I said to myself, now we really have something to teach, and it is good. So I began teaching.
When I shaking hands with Allah himself in person, Master Farad Muhammad, he said, "You want to reclaim your own?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Okay," I shook hands. I told him my life and death is all for Allah.
Yes, sir.
And he said, "Okay." Okay, so you come, just come on, be a follower.